Portugal in Vila Verde, Braga. Me, Stefan Gustafsson, and Ivan Lawler will guide you through today's racing. We are sitting here this morning in a wonderful area, in this wonderful village outside the city of Braga.
Braga itself, very ancient city. Romans came here in 16 BC and made it the capital city of this area. There's a Roman bridge in the background, it's been there for all that time. Pretty impressive, and today you can see that the wind that there is here is blowing towards that bridge, quite a bit windier than yesterday, a little bit clearer. We haven't got the fog we were hampered with yesterday morning, and it looks like being another very hot day.
Yes, indeed. The conditions seems to be excellent this morning before the heat set in, and the course is quite uncomplicated here on the river. The river that is filled, especially for this event. It usually in this part of the year is a lot smaller, but it is dammed, and they are filling it up to create excellent conditions for the athletes here.
The river itself, the course itself, is fairly shallow for the upstream half, and then it deepens out towards the top turn. The athletes will take advantage of that and suffer because of that accordingly. And you can see here a view pretty much back down the portage. This is the camera on the end of the start pontoon. The athletes just beginning to warm up for this morning's races.
And we have a great course animation, and we will see if we can get that on. Here it comes.
So a nice aerial view of the town and the course. The green line represents the start pontoon, and the course goes downstream through the left-hand half of the bridge up towards the top turn. Now it gets deeper. You can see the colour of the water is much darker up there. Clockwise turn and back towards the bridge, still in the deep water, over a very shallow section there, and then into the general shallows now, past the left of an island and back under the left-hand side of the bridge. Back to the second turn. No portage on the first lap, of course. All subsequent laps marked in red. Same course up to the top turn and back, but this time under the bridge and over the portage. Portage is grassy with stony exit and entrance, and then once you've done all your middle laps, the final lap, just 1,000 meters around the short turn and in the finish tunnel to the finish. Each large lap 3,600 meters, the small lap at the end just 1,000 meters, and there's your course for all of today's races.
And this Roman bridge is one of the interesting parts they will pass, the athletes. Quite impressive bridge, built 1,000 years ago, but still in use. And we are using it for our cameras, but it's also traffic out there. So, but there is some more obstacles in the course.
Yeah, shortly after the start, there's quite a sizable rock sticking out of the river. You will have to separate to go around it if you're in a big group. And in fact, to either side of that big rock, there's a very shallow section where there's two smaller rocks. It is paddle depth, especially if you go on the left-hand side there. The rock is just under paddle depth. So a bit tense, a bit nervous if you're going over that, but
that is marathon. It should be like that. Some interesting spots.
While we're talking about the rocks there, shot of Freya Peters and Emma Russell. Medal potential in the first race of the day, the junior women's K2. But in that same race, we have last year's world champions. Portuguese crew there, heading up to the start. 133, Azevedo and Sa.
A view of this wonderful area. It was a very important city in the Roman era to control the Iberian Peninsula. And now we are using it for these World Championships. And first out here today is K2 Women Junior.
We just saw the Italians going through there, Sotta and Giuliano. They were second at the European Championships earlier this year. They're on form. Sotta pretty good yesterday in the women's K1 for the first section at least. Then we have the under 23 C1 men on the course at the same time. And that's our first session of the day.
I think we will have a roster of today's racing coming up.
So as we look up the course there, the top turn is about as far as you can see on that first section of river. You don't go around the left-hand bend at the top of your screen. It's just straight up to the top there, turn around and come back. Start pontoon beginning to fill up with the volunteers who hold the back of the boats. Another ferry load of them just about to get on. Some fairly big starts again this morning. And some quality in the fields here. First race, we have a European champion, a world champion, and several other medalists. So we're struggling a little with getting the graphics up for the start list, so we'll just give you a bit of a heads up as to who's who in that first race. We have Australia in lane 1 and 2. They'll be at the top of your picture. Lane 2 there, Hannah Scott teams up with her partner Jones. They're both in the K1 yesterday. Scott, of course, had that brutal swim after the first lap when she was in contention in the front group. So below them is Portugal, then Slovakia. They were fourth in the European Championships. That's Peksukova and Serigova. Below them will be Argentina. Then it's one of the medal contenders, Peters and Russell from Great Britain. Belgium next to them, then the Spaniards, and next to the Spaniards, the Italians, Isotta and Giuliano, second at the Europeans, behind the boat to their right, which is Tafali and Sikos. Sikos, of course, yesterday's winner. Mackenzie and Wood in shot now will be to the right of the Hungarians. Mackenzie, great race yesterday, and she was also 6th in this event last year at the World Championships. Below them, the other South African crew of Shaw and Peckett, and to their right will be the big players, Kolami and Barco, the World Champions. Then it's Sweden, Portugal and Spain will be the 3 boats nearest to us as they line up. So that's your first race, and there's lots to watch out for in there. I've got a few crews highlighted as potential medalists. 2 Hungarians, Great Britain, we've got the Italians, we've got the Slovakians, and of course the South Africans. Mackenzie just missing out yesterday on a medal in 4th place. But a little view of the town over the bridge there. We've got cameras on the bridge today, and we should have cameras halfway up to the top turn and at the top turn itself, which will make our commentary and your viewing just a little bit easier today. So once the live stream, I should already be up, but I haven't found it yet on my computer, but keep the comments coming in, and we will answer your questions as best we can through the day. So it should be a little bit better for us today, Stefan, with an extra couple of cameras on the course. And hopefully we will get closer to the action today with the drones as well.
It's much better conditions today with no fog.
.160 there in the under-23 men's C1 is De Silva from Spain. Above him, 164, one of the big players, Daniel Laxo from Hungary. The Hungarians have not been shining in the canoe races this weekend, Stefan. That's a surprise to them, I'm sure, as well as it is to us.
Yeah, it's getting tougher. More nations coming in, competing seriously, also in these categories. And that's good.
141 there is Mackenzie and Wood. Mackenzie, proper opportunistic race for her yesterday. She made the best of everything. Just outgunned over the last section by the faster paddlers, but had the best result out there. We keep on the boats so that at least we can talk about it rather than that. 162, Ricardo Coleo from Portugal. Portuguese so close to a medal yesterday in the juniors, but it wasn't to be. They faded just at the end. Oh, they had the 30-second penalty actually, which was their downfall. Second Hungarian, 157, Balázs Adolf, one of the big names. So he's been junior world champion. Now moved up to the under-23. So see how well he makes that jump. The jumps between classes always seem, they look from the outside as smaller than they feel when you make them yourself. The average speed isn't too different between juniors, seniors and under-23s, but it's the brutality that happens along the way that separates those three classes. So the big players in the C1, as we look down the list, we've got Bruno Kumpes, Matthias Bourgil, always there. We've got Sergio Maciel from Portugal, one of the big favourites here. We've got Patrick Gluza from Poland and Daniel Laxo from Hungary, and they joined Balázs Adolf, who was junior world champion and fourth at the European. So we got top 5, 6 even from the Europeans here. Arved Hein was that 6th paddler. In fact, 7th was Ruben de Silva from Spain. So a lot of the big players in the under-23 men's C1. Junior women start to make their way forward of the start pontoon, which means their start is imminent. Mackenzie and Wood. They know it's going to be a tough day out there. They know that if they're going to get a medal, they have to match the speed of the Hungarians and the Great British crew and at least make it into the back of that group. You don't get many chances for Mackenzie. It might just be the one opportunity to get the ride. 134 there from Slovakia, Sergiova and Peskova. Apologies. Pexikova. 137 from Belgium, Plaz and Van der Kiebus. 135 from Argentina there, Marchetti and Lucero. 143. They're the big guns. Kalami and Bacco, last year's world champions. Peters and Russell, 136. Very much in with a shout of the medals, and closest to us, the Spaniards, Perez and Dos Santos. Nicely spread out on the pontoon. Not too much stress there. 2 South Africans drawn side by side. as are the two Australians who will be at the top of your picture. So, luckily, the man with the air horns turned up again, Stefan. So that'll keep us entertained during the Portuguese portages. There is the Portuguese crew, 145, Nogueira and Gomes. There's the Australians back onto the pontoon. As soon as they're on, we'll be ready to go. Wait for the yellow officials' hands to go up, which means they're happy with the line. Still unsettled at the moment. Can be super tense sitting there on those lines. Hands starting to go up. And away they go. Italians showing first in the middle with Isotta. Spaniards closest to us, Perez and Dos Santos, also going extremely well. But the Hungarians starting to make their way forward now in the white boat. The two Hungarians in the two white boats, white shirts, are going to end up doing this together. Peters and Russell just to their left. The Spaniards are going to make it across to the lead Hungarians. 143, Bacco and Kalami. So it's Spain, Hungary, Hungary. Peters and Russell just dangling off the back there. They need to get tucked in the V behind if they can. And it's well spread out already.
Very, very high speed set by the Hungarians.
So Bacco and Kalami already asserting their dominance.
It's already spread out to a top group of 4.
You can see how fast it is, the nose to tail racing. They're only just managing to fit into a line here. So that's Hungary, from Spain, Great Britain just tacking onto the side of Spain. I'm not sure who the 5th crew is, but they're your first 4, and it looks to be possibly... sorry, apologies, I can't get there. Could be Slovakia, which is going to be Sergiova and Pescu. I'm really struggling with Pesuskova's name. But the Hungarians ominously already away and clear. Another display of dominance. Peters and Russell making the chase together with the Spaniards and the Slovakians. And the rest of the field, it's like a bomb's gone off back there. They're all over the shop, fighting for the pieces that are left. Wood and Mackenzie at the bottom of your shot there. Was always going to be a long shot that crews like that could make it off the start with the Hungarians. But the Hungarians have definitely gone out with intent here, Stefan.
Amazing, amazing. They just went from the start.
They got together almost immediately. There were only 2 boats separating them, which was the 2 South Africans who probably aren't the fastest top speed in the field. So Hungarians were together within 30 seconds, and then not only were they together, they were off and away.
Sorry for the live stream that is down sometimes. There's some connection problems.
So there's the picture as it stands. Spaniards dropping off from the Great British crew, and the Slovakians who are together now in 3rd and 4th. But they are not going to touch the 2 white boats of Hungary and Hungary. So we come back to the start line for the under-23 men's C1. The quality is largely stacked in the middle of the field, except for Daniel Laxo, who is closest to us. It seems that Zakharov from Ukraine may have withdrawn from this one. He was in 165. Last onto the pontoon from Japan, Yuto Kozawa. Japanese have got a big team here, Stefan, and they're in the same hotel as us. And you look at them, they've got such a good group atmosphere going on, and they're really the proper team all together all the time.
That's what it is all about.
So Balazs Adolf, easy to spot with the droop nose on his boat. And away they go. A very even break off the start. Romania is Marius Milou. Romania, of course, massive tradition in canoe paddling. Not so much in marathon paddling, but canoe paddling most certainly. We've got a swimmer already, not sure who that was, and he held up another of the athletes. But as they come past us, it's pretty much all in a line. You got Maciel from Portugal just about leading. Laxo on this side, contesting that lead. The Romanian between those two. 156 there is Carlson from Estonia, who we haven't mentioned yet. So 162, Ricardo Colio. But Laxo leads from Milou. Top of your picture there is Colio and Maciel from Portugal. Above them from Estonia in the yellow boat is Giuseppe Carlson. Laxo choosing his own route. You don't have to go through the two left arches on the first lap. You do on all the subsequent laps. You can see the arrows above those two arches. But Laxo has got other ideas for lap one. And right off to the far side there from Spain, Damian Gonzalez. And with him, it's hard to tell, but it could be Matthias Bourgil from Poland. And heading off towards them at quite an angle there was Maciel. So he thinks they're going places. Meanwhile, we're at the front of the women's race again. And, oh no, we're back with the C1s, sorry. That's a well spread out field. Much harder to form the big groups in the canoes. So it wasn't the Japanese. I don't think it was in that initial clash. So a little report from the top turn on the track system. We've got the two Hungarians ahead of the Slovakians and Great Britain, the Italians and Spanish, Australians, Portuguese, South Africans all follow up after that.
And the gap now is about 20 seconds. Is Hungary to leading the second Hungarian group, boat number 140 and then 143. And then 20 seconds behind is Great Britain and Slovakia. And another, just behind them, actually, is Isotta and Foyo, Italy and Spain, and then Australia and Portugal on the 8th position. So, altogether, it's Hungary, Great Britain, Slovakia. That's the top four. Just behind that group is Italy, Spain, Australia, Portugal, South Africa and Australia. That's the top 10 in this race now.
So a view up the course there. Showing the C1s have all regrouped after choosing different directions through the bridge. As they head up to their top turn, the girls will be heading back. So no camera on the pontoon there. I was hoping for one on there today, and maybe not at the top turn, seeing as we didn't get pictures from the top turn. But Bako and Kalami, Shikos and Tafalvi lead the women's K2 by a considerable distance already. They're being hunted down, well, tailed off by Russell and Peters and Peksukova and Serigiova from Slovakia. And then there's a chase group led currently by the Italians who are chasing down those two in between. So it looks like, well, apart from the front two, it's going to be a very tight race for that third place in the women's junior K2.
Impressive speed set already from the start from the Hungarians. It seems like they cooperated already from the start, and it was their tactics to try to break free already at this early stage.
I think you probably look at a start list like they had, and with only the South Africans between them, they knew they were going to be together almost instantly anyway. So it's a plan worth making. That second group now has come together. It's 5 boats, and that's going to be the Italians are definitely in there.
It's Australia, it's Great Britain, it's Slovakia, and Italy.
Is that Jones and Scott, the Australian crew?
Yes, exactly.
Stefan?
Yeah.
You got to hope for Scott. I mean, we saw her at the end of the first lap yesterday in that front group and took a swim pretty much directly in front of us. So she deserves a bit more luck today. So I'm pleased for her that she's in there. But first and second, right there in shot. And that picture isn't going to change. Peters and Russell leading that group that we're going to call the chase group at least. Slovakians to their right as we look at it. Australians to their left. Tucked in the back is the Italians, and the Spaniards just out to the left of the group from our viewpoint.
Spain is Fejito and Santos.
So the Hungarians moving ahead. Shikos, of course, in the back. Won yesterday quite comfortably, to be fair. Partly thanks to our compatriots' inability to get over the land sections cleanly. But pretty tough here. You got a world champion crew, 143 from last year. So they must have been obviously very young last year. They'd be hoping to go one better, only there isn't one better this year. All they can do is lose.
Yeah.
So it's a really, well, it's a strange situation for them. And with Shikos in the other boat, who's clearly of quality anyway, pressure's on for them, I would think.
That's how it is for these Hungarians. It's a great team, the best marathon country in the world. Their selection races are as hard as the championships very often.
So Scott and Jones leading that second group and leading it hard as well by the look of it. Slovakians well organised in the back, and possibly we've lost the Spaniards from this group. It's hard. They may be just dangling off the back, but they're just in the green boat, just falling off the back of that group. So Spaniards, De Santos and Perez are losing touch with Group 2. The Spaniards now on their own in 7th place. So Shikos and Bako leading their respective crews around the first lap. It's not looking particularly stressful. as it stands.
A nice little training session for them, as it seems. Relaxed, effective.
The boat on the right, as we look at it there, are the world champions from last year, Barco and Kalami. They look so strong. Group of 4, though, can still work together to keep the speed high. In the background under the bridge, you've got the South Africans coming through with the Australians and one other. For the lead Australians, Jones and Scott doing a good job, currently in 3rd place. This is just different quality up the front here.
Australians doing well, very relaxed paddling. They haven't given up, trying to close the gap.
So as the Hungarians go around the turn, chase group of 4 passes us at the commentary.
30 seconds now.
About 100 meters, the difference. As we go back, we got the 2 South Africans, Australians in that group we just saw come through us. Then we have the Belgians and back to this is the chase group of 4 now. So we have Australia, Jones and Scott. We have Peksukova and Serigiova from Slovakia, Russell and Peters from Great Britain, and Giuliano and Isotta from Italy. Only 1 medal coming from that pack of 4, and that's going to get very tense later. Meanwhile, at the front of the C1 race, we have the 2 Hungarians leading. Estonia to the left of your picture, the 2 Portuguese, white hat and yellow hat respectively. So white hat is Colio and yellow hat Maciel. Maciel on paper, the stronger of the 2, but for now, not getting the best of it. And the Romanian to the far right of your shot, Marius Milu. So a good group, a big group for a C1 race, led by Balazs Adolf, junior world champion. So it's Adolf from Laxo, from Milu. And the Estonian, Carlson, for me at least, the surprise package in this one. Still a long way to go, of course. But Hungary, Romania, Portugal and Estonia all in shot. With Portugal just dangling off the back of the group. A little bit of clear water opened up. All choosing to wash hang. Paddling on the inside of the group there. So everyone to the right of the leader is paddling on the left. Everyone to the left of the leader is paddling on the right. And that just makes the wash hanging a little bit easier. Everyone seems happy and it's fairly straightforward. Pull down to the second of their turns. For now, at least, Maciel has work to do to get back on terms with the front 5. Maciel there, not losing ground on those front five, just holding his own. And in the background behind him, Bourgil from Poland. Got a much better European Championships where he's at the front of the race. Maciel goes out to the side, try and come up in the clear water. Maciel last year, second in Pietermaritzburg. It was a good weekend there for him. And there he is in shot, trying to get back on terms with the lead five. Well, they have about 300 meters left to go before their second turn. And it does look like he's doing okay out there. You can see the Estonian just struggling to paddle on the wash for a while there, reaching over the boat of Portugal. So Romania and Estonia, at least for now, settled in the front group with the two Hungarians and the Portuguese. Maciel begins to make his way back across to the group. He's just 3 lengths behind, passing directly in front of us now in commentary. So it's Adolf leads from Laxo, from Milu, from Canoe, and Carlson of Estonia. Maciel's got some overlap on the Estonian now, but the Estonian's struggling to get around the turn, and that isn't helping either of them. So both those guys will come out the turn together, and it's a group of 4 lead. So Estonia leaves the front group. Hungarians comfortable. And a spurt from the Estonian to get back in contact. He looks very strong. He's closing the gap. And he's going to end up in the middle of the group. And Maciel still trails the group on his own by about 3 or 4 lengths. So superb racing in the men's C1. And the Estonian continues to impress. So Adolf reaches for his drink. Take a bit of refreshment on the way. Well organised. Laxo looking over his right shoulder to see who's on that side. And Maciel may be making contact again. Laxo puts his paddle down. Wanting someone else to take the lead. Might not end well for him if he gets stuck in the back of the group. C1's not as happy to be stuck in the back of the group as the K1's. And trawling along behind, 155. He would hope not to be there. It's Matthias Bourgil, who led the European Championships across the line a few weeks back. So 162, Colio from Portugal takes the lead, and Maciel, for now at least, back in the running. So a little bit of a breather for him, a little bit of relaxation. But the Estonian closed down the group so easily after that turn. I think he has to be named as one of the contenders. Maciel moving up on the inside of the group. As we look up the river. The junior women's K2. Men come through the bridge, going up for there. second top turn. And Maciel begins to move on the inside of the group and takes the lead. Moves confidently into the middle of the group. Two guys go around the outside of him, which is the Romanian and Balázs Adolf. And the group reforms around a new leader. I think with two Portuguese guys in this race, we're going to spend quite a lot of time with it today. So Maciel leads. To his left, Adolf Balázs. To his right, his compatriot Canoe. On the far right of the group is the second Hungarian, which is Daniel Laxo. And on the left of the group, the Romanian Marius Milu. So a well-organised group of canoe paddlers. It may have just been an announcement on site. Not sure if I heard it correctly, but there may have been an announcement that boat 161, Patrick Gluser, may have left the race. So we look up the course and wait for the junior women's K2s to head back towards us. And here we go. It's the same picture we had from the previous lap. Two boats out in front. The only difference now is the gap behind them and the chase pack is bigger than it was 20 minutes ago. So Hungary from Hungary. The gap now almost a minute. Or it was almost a minute at the top turn, so quite possibly it is a full minute now. And that is a big gap. And we haven't even got to the first portage yet.
Yes, a minute between the Hungarians and the four in the second group, and then 30 seconds to the third group, consisting of Spain, South Africa, and Portugal. And unfortunately, we have some problems with the graphics this morning. As you can see, the server systems is quite unstable. They are working on it, so we hope to come back in the end of the race with some proper graphics with all the split times and everything.
This is a chase group of four, about a minute behind the leaders. Peters and Russell leading at the moment. Italians on their left, as we look at them, is Giuliano and Isotta. In that group also Jones and Scott and Peksukova and Sergiova. But here come the Hungarians in for portage number one, and even if they do portage like they portaged yesterday, they've got time to spare. So world champions leading at the moment. Very ladylike nose blow there. Keeping it clean. And Shikos and her partner Tafalvi take the lead. And they have about a minute or so to go to the first portage. Just trading leads for now. the race between the two of them won't start until another couple of laps' time. And there's the picture behind. You've got Spain, Portugal and South Africa. So the South Africans, Mackenzie and Wood, not quite having the day she had yesterday. But for Mackenzie yesterday, her race really started at the first portage. A couple of mistakes from other people, a window of opportunity opened up. So there's still chance. Jones and Scott with Peters and Russell, with Juliana and Isotta. So very close now to the first portage. So beach portage, quite steep. Paddlers will come in. What's really important on those beach portages is that the back person does not pick up the boat until after the front person has. Otherwise, the front person can't get the front of the boat out the water and up the sand. Back person has to be very patient, wait, and allow the front person to dominate what happens at this end of the portage. So here we go. They pass under the camera there, and 50 metres or so to go to the portage. Hungarian team manager in the bright yellow shirt, just watching on.
Da primeira portagem.
As they come in, nice tidy step out, don't lose contact with the boat. And the back person, beautifully done from the crew nearest us. Maybe not so smart from the other ones, but the crew nearest us, you see the back paddler just left the boat alone until the front person picked it up and it came to her. And that's quite possibly why they're world champions right now. Running a little bit better than the crew behind, who look to be labouring just a little bit. And it's 1-2 for Hungary. At this end of the portage, the back person needs to get the tail in first. And away they go. Very little stress and no intent to break up this pairing. As the nose of that second boat drops down into the water and back onto the wash they were riding before they came in. Top crew leaving them plenty of room around the inside of the turn, and a quick glance over the shoulder from Chicos will tell them that the chase group is just entering the portage. So it's Peters and Russell. Not Russell a bit quick to pick up the back, and you can see how that pushed the front of the boat out. Peters couldn't reach the front of the boat, so it's Australia and Great Britain running through. Jones and Scott. Great Britain. This could be a split in this group now. The gap is 6-7 lengths back to the Italians rather, and the Slovakians on their own. Australians trying to get over the back of the British boat. In fairly tidy and away, and it's these two boats have a margin. The Italians are in a hurry there, and there's a lot of stress in that Italian boat. Our picture's gone on our screen, so we'll commentate from what we can see from commentary. It's 2 boats away, then a gap of 3 lengths only back to the Italians, who have a lead of 5 lengths on the Slovakians, who are working very well to close the gap. So Great Britain and South Africa just ahead of Italy, and the Slovakians have got work to do. Away go the Australians. Australia pushing hard to make the split stick. And we could be looking at third and fourth breaking away. The Italians aren't making any headway back to them. The gap still 3 lengths. And the Australians are pulling well at the front of that group. Apologies, we've lost our picture on our screen. Oh, we're back. So that's the Portuguese we saw going around the turn there. Turn empty for now. And the next crew round will be the South Africans together with the Spaniards. So from South Africa, that is Shaw and Peckett.
And then Portugal.
Second Italians, 1-3-5 there. Marchetti and Argentinians rather. Marchetti and Lucero just leaving the portage.
And the Portuguese, Shah and Acevedo.
And here we go. Maciel leads in the under-23 men's C1. Still a group of 5. Still the 2 Hungarians, Laxo and Balaz. And we still have Carlson there from Estonia and Milu from Romania. So the top guys in the C1 Top guys in the C1 then, just to recap, we've got Daniel Laxo, Marius Milu, Ricardo Colio. Oh no, sorry. We've got Maciel from Portugal also, Balaz Adolf and Joseph Carlson. It looks like 6 boats still, and it's the Estonian at the back of the group this time. It was Maciel last time, the Estonian now in the rough water at the back. 6 boat race still in the men's C1, just coming under the bridge. A minute or so to the portage. And behind them we have Spain, Poland, and I think Germany. Which will be Arved Hein from Germany. So we know the Portuguese run well on the portages. Whether they'll take the opportunity to make a break. It looks like Estonia uncomfortable with his position on the left of the group. Here goes Laxo.
Continue like this.
So this is a tense race coming into this portage. Maciel appears to be in control still in that yellow hat from Portugal. The Romanian in the yellow boat with a red tip. Milu just squeezing out. Balaz Adolf from Hungary in the red hat. And Estonia fighting now to stay with that group. In comes the Romanian, squeezing up the pace again. He may come into the portage first. No, it's still Maciel. Adolf on the inside, going very well. Romania, Hungary and Portugal all out well. Second Hungarian, Laxo out. Colio struggling. His legs don't seem to be responding. And Estonia could be the end of it. Maciel shouting quite dramatically. I think he wants something on the next lap maybe. And waving his paddle possibly a little early for that. Crowd pleaser or clown, we've yet to find out. It will go one way or the other for him. Romania in second. Milu very impressive. Chasing him down straight away. Laxo next in the black boat with the green top. So away goes Maciel. Marius Milu looking good in second place. Laxo in third. Next is Adolf, then Kolio, whose legs didn't seem to be responding on the portage, and it's Estonia who have lost contact with that group now. That group may well split even further around the turn. Maciel going well. Milu just coming, ducking around the back of him maybe to come up on his favoured wash hanging side. Here he the two Hungarians for now having to fight it out for third. Adolf struggling to stay with Laxo, who's in turn struggling to make it back to Maciel. Kolio seems to be dropping off that group now. Estonia is done. Here comes Laxo. Coming up on the right-hand side of Maciel. They've all sorted out the side they want to be on. Adolf back in the game again. And it's 4 boats now. Speed drops off. There's time. Quick look back over his shoulder from Adolf to see that Kolio is struggling and floundering a bit in the background there. It's down to 4. It's a lonely trip now for Portugal 2 as Laxo takes on the lead. The Romanian looking a little uncomfortable for now, riding that wave. Just straightening his boat up, getting it organised again. Here we go again. He's struggling again. You just see those steering strokes going in. Maciel in good control of his boat. Laxo looking strong in the white shirt of Hungary. Quick view back to the Japanese paddler, yet to do his first portage. That's Yuto Kozawa from Japan.
And unfortunately, we need to have a short break and make some technical changes on the television system here to get all the graphics up and get it a little bit more stable. Why we will be off for 3 to 4 minutes. After that, back again with a lot better quality, hopefully. So we apologize for that, but that's the only way to proceed. It will be even better in the far end of.
We're back on. So it looks like we're back in the game. But the game hasn't changed. It's still Hungary versus Hungary. World champion K2 on the right plays world champion K1 on the left. 3 world champions out of 4 paddlers in your team. That's not a bad team to be in. It took me the entire 5-minute break, Stefan, to work out how the coffee pot worked. And a little bit embarrassed about that. I had to be shown in the end. So as the girls come into their portage for the second time, they're on lap 3 of 5.
And while they are doing that, the C1M is
watch.
up there at the upper turn. And
Watch this time as the
they are
back
down
paddler in the
to
Hungarian boat has nothing to do with that boat until it's out of the water. Even though she got out of the boat badly, it didn't disturb anything there. So grabbing the boat too early is the biggest crime for a back paddler, and she did really well there. Well-organised crew.
while we follow them. The C1M is at the upper turn, and they are down to 4 now. 4 in the top group, and that is Kumpes, Lasso, Adolf, and Maciel from Portugal. And they have a 30-second gap to Carlson and Borgiel from Estonia and Poland. So down to 4 in the top group of the men's C1.
Kumpes is in that front group. I haven't had him in my front group. It looks like I've been misinforming the public for quite a long time now, Stefan. But I won't let that get in the way of a confident commentary. We're just going to press on and I'll reassess. So it could be... have we got a Romanian in that front group, Stefan? Have I been calling Kumpes Romanian all the way through?
Kumpes, Croatia, and Lasso, Hungary, Adolf, Hungary, and Maciel, Portugal.
Wow. So here come the chase group of 4, led by Peters and Russell. Italians on their left, Australians on their right, and the Slovakians who struggled on the last portage coming in last of the 4 again. The Australians ran well last time, as did the British. Italians much better this time, a little bit cleaner out of the boat. Peters and Russell in charge of this for now, but the Australians, you see the bow, white bow of their boat just inching into shot there. So Australia, Italy and Great Britain just pulling away slightly from the Slovakians. Great Britain in safely, the Italians in safely. Much less stress for the Italians than last time. Slovakians having to do another catch-up after this. And the Australians did really well there. 3rd on the run, 1st into the water. And away they go. Super impressive from the Australians there. Very well organised.
And Slovakia, how many times can they do it? Closing the gap? They have been in that position for every lap now. Strong on the water though.
So graphics up on screen. There's your front 2, minute and 25 ahead of this chase pack. And there they are in shot. Shikos leading for now. And opposite the portage, the Slovakians are struggling to get back to the group of 3 that left them behind. Spaniards in well, South Africans in well. And the Portuguese 133 is Sá and Azevedo.
They are on 10th position now. So the top 10 for in the ladies race is Hungary, and then Australia, Scott Jones and Peters and Russells, Great Britain, Isotta Giuliani from Italy, Sergiova Peskova from Slovakia, Fejido Santos from Spain, and 8th position is Wood Mackenzie, South Africa. 9th is Azevedo and Shah from Portugal. 10 is Shaw Peckett from South Africa. 11 Santiago Gestaldo from Spain. 12 Van den Cabus and Plus from Belgium.
So here we are at the front of the men's C1 race, and it is a 4-boat front group. And yep, I have been misinforming you horribly. My Romanian turns out to be a Croatian. So Bruno Kumpes, apologies to you. So 154 has stopped being a Romanian and has turned into a Croatian. Bruno Kumpes is in the front group with the 2 Hungarians and Maciel from Portugal. Out of that top group goes Kolio. We saw him dropping off earlier, and the Estonian we saw at the portage, he left that front group. We've got a second group of 4 behind them. So good group racing in the C1s.
The C1 group racing has really developed over the years, over the recent years. It's a little bit more difficult to do a proper group racing in sea bouts, but in these excellent conditions they managed that very well.
So this is the chase group of 4, led by 156, which is Carlson from Estonia. He was good in the early stages, just lost touch just a little bit. 155 above him, Borgil from Poland, and 162 there was Kolio from Portugal, who was in that front group for such a long time. And with them was Arvid Hein from Germany. The 2 groups of 4, 2 well-organised, coordinated groups. And it's going to come down to the portage in again. C1s on lap 3 of 6. 1 more lap than the K2 junior women, who are on their 4th of 5. And then obviously there's the 1 small lap to add on to the end of both those numbers. So Kumpez leads from the 2 Hungarians. And Maciel is still with that group. Perhaps the paddle waving and the crowd pleasing on the first portage was a little premature. You can see how shallow the water is there. Just moving in towards the portage now. And Maciel forcing his way up the inside of Balaz. It's going to be a bit tense there. Maciel was the one who came off worse. Both those 2 coming through for a drink. Meanwhile, Kumpez on the charge. So Kumpez and Laxo don't take the drinks. Maciel does. Unfortunate for Balaz that his crew didn't get to his drink to him in time. He had to actually stop in the drinks lane. You could forgive him for a few choice words on his support crew there. He didn't need that. And away goes Kumpez with Laxo. No paddle waving for Maciel this time. No crowd pleasing antics. All of a sudden, life's not looking quite so simple for Maciel as the second group run across the portage in front of us. Balaz at the back of that group in the red hat. Maciel just making his way through. Laxo comes up the right-hand side of Kumpez. So he's on his favoured wash-hanging side. And into the water, Estonia there. Arvid Hein, the red-tipped boat of Germany. With Borgil and Kolio. So there's your lead 4. Kumpez, Laxo, Maciel and Adolf. Followed by Kolio, Borgil, Hein and the next one through, who's not on that list, was Carlson of Estonia, who may have just dropped off that group. But here's your leaders. And Kumpez going extremely strongly at the front of that group. Laxo just making his way back after a little drink stop. Kumpez, just in what? His watch maybe at the front there. You are allowed to have your GPSs and your electronic gadgetry in the marathon racing. So still a long way to go in this C1 race. The chase pack is now 3. We've lost Carlson from Estonia. So now that chase 3 is Hein, Bourgil and Colio. An enforced change of lead in the front group as Kumpez says, your turn please. So Maciel takes up the pull. Balaz to his left. And Laxo to his right. We'll see if Kumpez has a shot at the V-wash here or whether he wants to come outside and have an easier time steering. In the K1s, obviously, you would stick into that V and you'd be grateful for it. But we can see Kumpez is going around the left-hand side of the group. So he wash hangs on the side of his paddle there. There's the leaders. Carlson in 8th place has dropped off from 5, 6 and 7. And he's being chased now by De Silva and Milu, who actually never was in the front group. That was my mistake from the start. An hour into the K2 junior women's race now. And everything, at least for now, very calm outside the start, finish and commentary area. So no change in those front 4. Chase group is now 3. Carlson on his own and De Silva and Milu behind him. So we'll be waiting now for the K2s. Here they come. That is the 3rd group in the K2s with the Spanish, the South Africans and the Portuguese. Here's the front group. They've just overtaken the Japanese. Paddler, change of lead. As the world champions put their paddles down briefly. A bit of conversation going on there between the two girls. And there's a fair distance between them and Group 2.
It is. It is up there at the turn. It was 1:35, 1 minute 35 seconds, and in the second group, still Slovakia is not there. They are another 10 seconds behind, so they haven't lost contact.
And the Slovakians back with that second group again, Stefan?
No,
or
they are
group
just
of 3?
they are just 10 seconds behind the second group. They haven't lost contact, but they are not there yet.
Yeah.
The third group is 2:45 behind, so it's another minute between Slovakia and the third group, consisting of Spain, South Africa, Portugal, and the second these 3, and then the fourth group is the second South Africa.
Yep. So there's confirmation of those positions. Top 10 there. South Africans having their own personal battle back in towards the 7th and 8th, somewhere back there. Hungarians having their own battle at the sharp end. Bako and Kalami, current world champions. Really happy for Jones and Scott after yesterday's race that they're in for a shout of the medals. Russell and Peters, medalists last year, are also in that fight for bronze. But the fight for bronze began very, very early on. These two crews away by the first bridge. And it was never in any doubt that they would be 1 and 2. Nice shot from the drone there. That is fantastic. And here's the chase pack. Slovakians are back with the chase pack now, led by the Australians again. Jones and Scott seem to have been doing quite a lot of the work in that group. And we follow the Hungarians back. 3 people. And those 3 are Borgil and Kolio. And the Estonian, who had lost contact with that group completely going up to the turn, and now he's back in there. So he's paddling really well today. So Carlsen from Estonia moving very nicely, and it's Hein now who's lost contact with that chase group. But the leaders for now, Hungary, Portugal and Croatia. Lap 4 of 6 for the men's C1. So Carlsen back in the game. Hein detached from that chase group. We've got K2 between the chase group of 3 and the leaders, as you can see from the drone shot there. It's a real C1 race. It's really good.
I'm adding speed for each group now.
Yes, this is really. And now you're using long enough.
Situation is on the splits. Sometimes you see that first guy, second guy, and third guy, and then the third guy comes like as all guys are seconds and ones are sending first. But now we're gonna.
So the Estonian Carlsen leading that chase group of 3. Kolio on his left and Borgil on his right. So the gap between them and the front group isn't too big. They've still got 2 big laps to go. But for now, it's a 4-boat front group with only 3 medals on offer. Pez at the back of the group. That last little landing stage, Stefan, where you saw Maciel squeeze Kumpez on the corner of that, does it need to be that close to the portage? I mean, that's going to, in the bigger groups later in the weekend, that's going to be quite significant. You can see that being used as a tool there. And it
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
doesn't need to be where it is. So only 2 boats now in the chase group, and the Estonian dropped off on the portage. Looks like he's not so slick across the land as the Portuguese and the Polish. And the group is splitting up at the front. Kumpez off the back of the group. Laxo making his headway back to Maciel.
Very powerful strokes there from Laxo.
That was a fairly convincing catch-up there from Laxo. A few big strokes and he's back in the game.
No problem at all for him.
Maciel is not going to have this all his own way.
Looks like Kumpis has some problems though.
We could have decided at least who's going to get medals at that last portage. Kumpez still off the pace. Still paddling well though, and not far down.
Think he will make it.
So Maciel, Balaz and Kumpez gradually makes his way back up. And we're going to be back to a 4-boat race with Daniel Laxo being the fourth of those paddlers. So Hungary and Hungary. Here's the state of play at the lead of the K2 Junior Women's. The move that they made at the portage has stuck. It never looked in any doubt. Bako and Kalami lead from Shikos and Tafalvi. And they're going fast there. That's how big the gap is. It's a huge gap now back to their compatriots. When they left the last portage, they had that little look behind to see if there was a gap. There was. They capitalised on it. They have one more portage now and a short lap. And this race is not in doubt. It's going to be another win for Bako and Kalami. World champions last year and world champions this year.
And the gap is now 1 minute to the second Hungarian bout, and then another 2 minutes actually to Italy, Great Britain and Australia. And just behind, still Slovakia. 10 seconds behind the second group. The Slovakians keep going on.
They had a big deficit after the last portage, and to get to 10 seconds behind, they're doing well still. But here's the leader, Bako and Kahami. That's a junior crew that wouldn't be outclassed, I don't think, in the senior race either. So a couple of K to go for these two, including the portage. Back to second place. Not quite as cheerful, but a silver medal coming their way. Shikos, winner yesterday, second today. Little smile at the drone there. So life's not all bad for the leaders here. Final portage. A little bit of weed stuck to the front of their boat, Stefan, which they'll be aware of. But what that means is there is weed out there, and that can be on your rudder as well as on the front of your boat if you're unlucky. So
having it in the front of the boat is not that disturbing. Otherwise, but mentally, it's. But the paddlers need to be cool and don't focus on it.
So final portage. Bako and Kahami. Nicely done. There really is no stress here. And away they go. Smiles all round. 1,000 metres to go. They're comfortably clear. So at least one of them turned into Usain Bolt for that last portage. Covering that ground in 16 seconds. I think that might be a little ambitious, but there's your winners in shot, already headed up to the final turn. As their compatriots make their way over the portage. Second place for them. Chicos, winner yesterday in the back of that boat with Tefalvi. They just didn't have an answer when the other two left. Nicely organised, getting back in. And they've got 1,000 metres to go. Way clear of the real interest, which is in who wins that race for bronze. So the race for bronze is going to be between Australia, Slovakia, Great Britain and Italy. Hopefully we get to see them come into the portage. It's going to be a tough decision for the cameraman as these two are going to be finishing around that time. .600 odd metres. So I'll try and keep you involved with the bronze medal race. Coming into the portage now. I can't quite see from my commentary position who's where. But they're coming into the portage now. It looks like Peters and Russell are leading that from the Italians, and the Australians in third place, Slovakians at the back of the group, as they have been on every portage. But it's Peters and Russell out first, followed by the Italians with Isotta. The Australians running hard now. They've run well on the other portages, but they've got ground to make up. Here we go then. It's Peters and Russell. From the Italians running reasonably well. They've got an overlap on the British crew now. Australians coming in fast as well from behind. In go the Italians. Boat touches the water first. They're back and they're in. Away they go. They're going to get to the turn first ahead of Peters and Russell. A bit slow getting in the boat there. So it's Italy from Great Britain, from Australia. The Slovakians surely can't catch up on the last 1,000 metre lap. It's Italy. The Italians have got to measure their effort here though, because the Great Britain crew have got a strong finish. So it's Italy from Great Britain. Australia look to have lost contact. It's going to be a long way back. So third and fourth It's Italy, Great Britain, 5th at the moment, Australia. The Slovakians are not going to close this time, surely. Leaders coming in to the finish, bit more calm up this end of the race. So processional at this end. The fight goes on opposite us, though. It's still Italy from Great Britain. But Hungary for now. Victory lap almost. So Hungary about to win. Smiles, hand in the air, job done. Fairly routine, well, very routine from the last 2 laps. Team race up till then. They broke from their compatriots with the second last portage, and it was never in any doubt. Boat 1, 4, 3, Bako and Kahalmi, absolutely dominant. Fantastic race from them. And hopefully we can get to the bronze medal fight, which is between Italy and Great Britain. In the background there, Spain and South Africa tussling a little bit on the turn. I'll see if I can get a visual on the others. It's Italy leading Great Britain still as they're coming up to the top turn. Here comes crew 2, Shikos and Tafalvi. Australians still not giving up the chase though for bronze. A few lengths down, but it's Italy leading from Great Britain as they approach the turn. Hungary coming in for second. In the top of your shot, any minute now we should see the race for third. So Hungary, second place, Shikos, Tafalvi. And top of your screen now, there we go. It's Italy, Great Britain being hunted down by the Australians. Slovakians off the back of that. They're not going to make it. But Shikos and Tafalvi finish in second. Comfortable second. They're well beaten by their teammates, but happy with second. Italians and Great Britain have come round the top turn. It's just going to be between these two for bronze now. Australians leaving for their final bottom turn from the portage. And if we can get the cameras up to second and third place, it would be, here we go now. It's the Italians leading from the British. Australians are going to have to settle for fifth. But Italy coming in strongly. Giuliano stroking that boat. Isotta in the back. Here we go from Great Britain. Emma Russell powering up. Freya Peters taking the pull. It looks like they're going to come past. It looks like Great Britain storming past Italy. The Italians are broken. It's Great Britain all the way. Freya Peters, Emma Russell have come through so strongly. There's nothing the Italians can do about that. It's going to be a bronze medal for Great Britain. It was bronze yesterday for Emma Russell and bronze today. It's looking fairly comfortable at this stage as the Italians go uphill, back over another wave, and that gap's just going to open up. British too strong for the Italians over the last 200 metres, and a great result for Great Britain. Bronze medal there. Freya Peters from Richmond, Emma Russell from Chelmsford beat the Italians into third place. Australians are going to come fifth. But neither of these two a match for the might of Hungary, who paddled away. Jones and Scott, fifth place. Good result from them. They were in the hunt for third all the way. They look really happy with what they've done. And after yesterday, you've got to be pleased for Scott. Across the line now, the Slovakians put up a great fight all day to stick with that group. So the top 6 places in the K2 decided. The Australians, you can see how happy they are with their fifth. They were in the hunt all the way. Very happy for them. So 2 more medals for Hungary, 1 more for Great Britain. Italians put up a good fight. And in come the C1s in the background. It's Hungary from Portugal, from Hungary. Maciel coming through the drinks lane. There's still another portage after this one. Daniel Laxo running hard. But it's the Portuguese first into his boat. Balázs in the red hat, tidally into his boat. So Portuguese in first, but the Hungarians are way before him. And Maciel comes round to the left-hand side of Laxo. There's 1 big lap to go. And across the line come the Portuguese crew of Sá and Azevedo. They were just behind the Spaniards and the South Africans. So Mackenzie and Wood finished, as have Dos Santos and Perez. And behind them, Sá and Azevedo, while we were watching the C1s come through the portage. So Balázs, just off the pace of the other two, momentarily at least. Here we go, bit of an effort to close that gap. And he's going to come up the side of Maciel. In the background still, Kumpez hasn't given up the chase. Across the line in the junior women's K2 is the second South African crew, Peckett and Shaw, and they just beat the Belgians, Plas and Van den Kiebus, and they in turn are ahead of the Spaniards in 138, Gastaldo and Santiago. So now the race to be decided. It's the men's C1. The local crowd would absolutely love this to be a Portuguese victory. But Laxo is looking strong. Balázs in the red hat closed the gap comfortably as well. Sadly for us, the air horn hasn't run out of power yet, as the second Australians come across the line in the K2. 131, De Kretzer and O'Rourke. So most of the junior women's K2s finished now.
Okay.
Here, for the time being at least, the 3 medals in the men's C1.
Well, we're here with the world champions, the gold medalists in the K2 junior women's, Olga Bako and Amesh Kahami. This is the 2nd year in a row. They were world champions last year. They're world champions again this year. Congratulations to you both. Was it easier or harder this year?
Thank you. I think it was a little bit easier than last year because now we did it the other Hungarian girls and work together, and it's easier than do it alone like last year.
Did the race go perfectly for you? You looked so relaxed. You looked so in control. Did you feel that way?
Yes, I can say that, but I'm tired, of course, but we trained for marathon, so I think it was what we did.
Amesh, you're only 16, so you have another year of juniors, but you have to find a new partner next year. How do you feel about that?
I don't know that. So, I was trying to K1.
Well, it's fantastic to see you both paddling so well. What amazed me is that you both had smiles on your faces, even in the last lap when it looked so difficult. So congratulations. Enjoy your second world title.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our gold medalists from Hungary, Olga Bako and Amesh Kohami.
So that is really quite something. Double world champion already, 2 years consecutively with another year to go as a junior. That's really quite terrifying for anyone who's thinking of being a junior next year, because she is not going to get any slower. And I don't know, Stefan, how do you do that? She's 2 years in a row and you've got another year to go as a junior.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's absolutely amazing. What a talent. Sometimes we see that, but very seldom these guys reach the top level in the seniors, but some do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with junior racing, is you're only up against a very narrow band of people. Once you're in senior, that age group, it's everyone. And it's everyone who's ever been junior world champion is in the fight. So it is a big step up to...
Hungary has a good system, though, to take care of all these talents and making something.
There can't be many people who've won the world championships twice already with 1 year to go.
No.
I think that's probably exceptional. So around the top turn come the Portuguese crew in the women's K2. 500 metres to go for them. And somewhere up the course.
Now with our bronze medalists in the women's K2 junior. Sorry, K1, it's definitely K2. For the girls from Great Britain, you're shivering. Why are you shivering so much?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm cold or tired or...
It looks like you've had a swim. It's not cold, but maybe it's excitement because it was a fantastic finish and you got the bronze medal. I mean, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, it's amazing. I've had sort of like quite a tough year racing, and I'm just really happy to get a bronze. It was a really tense race, so when it comes all the way down to the line, it was quite stressful.
Tell me about that tough year you've had.
Well, I went to the Euros in my K1 and I came 7th. Obviously Emma did brilliantly, she won, but it just wasn't quite the result I wanted, so it's nice to come back and get a medal.
And Emma, it's been a big 2 days for you. Big day yesterday. Did you sleep well last night?
I had a bit of pre-race nerves, but recovered well yesterday afternoon. Got on the water and felt quite good this morning, so it's good.
That's amazing that you felt so good today after yesterday. The muscles weren't aching?
A little bit, but I'm used to it.
And going into the last lap, when obviously there was a race on for bronze, how did you feel about your chances of getting the bronze?
I was quite confident that we had quite a good sprint at the end, so we just had to stay nice and clean over the portage around the last lap.
Well, I think one of you needs to go get a jumper on or something. You're making me feel cold looking at you. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our bronze medalists from Great Britain.
So if you win a medal at the Sprint World Championships of 500 metres, you're always going to be confident down that last 200 of a marathon. Emma Russell, 3 World Championship medals in 1 year. There aren't many people who can do that. So hats off to her and her club at Chelmsford for producing a very good athlete indeed. 1:45, Nogueira and Gomes come across the line now. It's a long day for them. And things calm down, at least for now. Okay,
with
quite a
the
lot of
silver
comment
medalists
on-
from the
sorry, back to
K2
final
Junior
interview.
Women's. And once again, it's a team from Hungary, Zoka Sikos and Victoria Tofalvi. Zoka, you won gold yesterday. Was it hard to get up today and come out and paddle again?
Yes, it was
A hard race.
yes, and the better weren't. Nem? Beszéljünk akkor
It was very hard, yes. Victoria, what about for you? I mean, the other Hungarian girls are obviously very good.
Yes, but we are a teammate with the other girls, Hungarian girls, and we know they are better. Yes.
Just don't tell them that, okay? Because it's a psychological thing. Gold yesterday, a silver today. It's a pretty good 24 hours for you, yeah?
Yes, we are very happy.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our silver medalists from Hungary.
Okay, so back up to the men's C1. Still the same three players.
So it looks like it could be a medal for Portugal here. Marcel, Lacho and Adolf in the lead. Campos just 10 seconds behind.
Kumpers has done well to stay there. He's been off the pack for quite a long time now, but he hasn't lost any distance. If there's a mistake from one of those lead three, he could still pick up a medal here.
And you never know. Maybe he's just playing cool there, just behind. And
There's certainly a different set of rules applied to the C1 racing to the K1 racing. So if you're in that position in a K1, you'd probably be written off. But in the C1, things change.
very decisive final portage coming up soon. And Ricardo is 1 minute 47 behind the second Portuguese that this was displayed on the graphics.
About 35, 36 meters back to Bruno Kumpes. I think that's as close as he's been for quite a while. And to me, he looks like he's making progress. It looks like he's going to rejoin that group, possibly before they get to their final portage.
Looks like.
It's a long way back to the other two, which is the second Portuguese paddler, Canoe, and
They're
Poland.
playing a lot of tactics now in this group. The speed is not that high in the front. Compass is using that to close the gap.
So it's Canoe and Bourgil at the back there. The Estonian, well gone now. Kumpes still chasing the lead three. Maciel leads. We know he's quick across the portage, but so too is Laxo. Both Laxo and Balázs Adolf, very powerful. Top end speed is high for both those. And Kumpes continues to close the gap on these lead three. It's going to be a good race. Here come the leaders. Heading towards the bridge for the final time. And Maciel is in control, at least for the time being. I think Laxo in the black and green boat has the best turn of speed. But it's always hard to overtake in the canoes. When you're on the wash there, a lot of your power's lost in the steering strokes.
And the top four are there, and then Borchiel was on the 5th position, and he is 1 minute 45 seconds, about that, behind.
So there's the bridge. As they come through that, it'll be the last time they pass through it. Looking pretty slow at the moment. You'd expect something to happen between now and the portage. Kumpez continues to hound that front group. Just over a mile, 1.5 K to go to the finish rather. And Laxo to the left of that group as we look at it. Maciel in control. Balaz Adolf in the red hat, looking extremely relaxed. So here they come. Kumpez gradually running out of time. 40 meters now, the distance, or could be 22. Looks more like 22 than 40 from the camera angle we're getting there. Up steps the pace. Maciel taking control, taking the initiative into this final portage. Laxo on his right in the green and black boat. Probably the stronger. We'll see Maciel squeeze Balaz into the raft before the portage, I'm sure. Jim Rossiter in the cubicle next to us, whipping the crowd into a frenzy of excitement here as they come in. It's Portugal from Hungary, leaving very little room on his inside, but they're all going to be out. It's Maciel out first, Laxo up and running well, but Maciel absolutely butchering them on the run. The Hungarians are caught for speed. Maciel runs well, but you've still got to paddle after this. It only takes a little error on the getting in. He's in and he's away. Hungarians, Balaz first in his boat, then Laxo, but Laxo does a better entry and he's the closest to Maciel. Maciel makes the break. 1,000 meters to go. Round the turn, bottom turn for the final time. He's got a gap of some 6 lengths from the 2 Hungarians. It's Laxo round the turn next. Maciel increases his lead. Hungarians look sluggish in comparison. It's a decent lead. 1,000 meters to go. And the Hungarians do not look in the mood for a chase. Away goes Maciel. This will be Portugal's first medal of the championships. Laxo begins the chase now. It's chase on. Laxo from Balaz Adolf, but the leader, as it stands, Sergio Maciel.
stopped because the first was outside of the finish. He stopped, and the other won. He could easily won. He stopped. He second, and now he won. Now what's that?
So Sergio Maciel, I don't know how many of you were watching back in Brandenburg 2 years ago, but Sergio Maciel was up for a win there, went the wrong side of the finish buoy and had to back up and go round and lost his gold medal there. It became a silver, so natural justice here. Maciel with his first win. To come that close 2 years ago was heartbreaking for him.
A native from Vienna, just a couple of kilometers from this place where we had the Europeans last year. Now he's heading for a gold medal for Portugal.
So it's going to be gold for Portugal. It's just 600 meters to go. There's the top turn. He's round that cleanly. And he will be very much concentrating on the finish funnel and making sure he goes the right side this time, I'm sure. So the gap is unassailable now. The Hungarians are nowhere. Laxo just ahead of his teammate Adolf. Here comes Maciel. The crowd will be going nuts for this one. Maciel making up for missed opportunities 2 years ago. Laxo takes on Adolf in the background there, keeping the speed high. Kumpez in fourth place, as he has been for a lap or so. But it's all about Maciel. The crowd are getting noisier as he gets closer. Up goes the air horn. Here comes Sergio Maciel from a club just down the road. And the fight for bronze is on. Silver and bronze, rather. Maciel's got the win, but silver and bronze. It's Laxo from Adolf. Adolf seems to have come around Laxo. And it's Hungary 2-3. And it's the youngster who's going to get it, I think. But for now, yep, it's Balázs Adolf in silver medal. But Maciel has time to look up to the crowd. The crowd are on their feet for him. It's the first win for Portugal. Maybe not the last this weekend. First win to Portugal. Balázs Adolf second. Proper crowd pleaser. Laxo third. The C1 paddlers love a bit of drama at the end of their races. They all finished in the water last time in the junior race. Now the seniors all over the place. Or the under 23s rather. Kumpez across the line in fourth place. Great race from him. And apologies to him and his support crew for thinking he was Romanian for the first half of this race. That's classic commentator error. Great racing there in the C1s. The C1 racing is getting better and better. So on that first lap, when Maciel was waving, we were asking if he was a crowd pleaser or a clown. And it turns out that he was a crowd pleaser. He's won the race, and hopefully we'll get an interview with him very shortly. So I think the interviews getting there was from the locals. We'll try and get the ICF's Ross down there for an interview we can have as well.
Very touching scenes there. This very popular athlete from this region, actually,
Yeah,
northern part of Portugal, a native from
Portuguese
Vienna.
having a great time there. Pimenta
Yes.
just get 2 golds at the Sprint Worlds. Got Maciel now. Dare I say it, Romalo to come later in the weekend.
Yes.
There'll be a lot of pressure on him to do well here.
As it was for Pimenta at the sprint.
It's not easy coming into a race as a favourite. Hopefully we'll get an interview. There goes Ross, keeping up with the crowd there, running through. Hopefully he'll catch up. And we'll hear from the winner shortly. Across the line now, 155 is Borgil from Poland. He would have hoped for more. He won the European Championships a few weeks ago. But today was not to be his day. He's looking back over his shoulder at the second of the Portuguese athletes, Canoe. So across the line comes Colio. And the morning session draws to a close slowly.
Okay, Portugal, put your hands together for your world champion. Sergio, you won silver last year. You won silver at the juniors. Now you are a gold medalist. Congratulations. It must mean a lot for you.
Ganhaste prata o ano passado, ganhaste prata no europeu e agora vê-se aqui em casa. O que é que estás a sentir?
Estou muito orgulhoso, era um título que me faltava e era isto que eu queria depois desta época ser muito complicada. Mas tenho que agradecer aos meus pais e ao meu treinador Rodolfo por os sacrifícios todos que fizeram por mim.
And Sergio, talk me through the race. The last lap, the race was there to be run. There were 3 of you together. Did you feel you had the power to be able to win?
Na última volta, o que é que sentiste? Apenas os 3, achavas que ias ganhar? O que é que sentiste?
Eu tentei, meti-me à frente na prova, não deixei que os húngaros ganhassem a liderança e depois cheguei à última portagem, estava-me a sentir bem, ataquei e depois foi até ao final.
And what about these fans here, Sergio? They've come out to support you here, they've come out to support Portugal. Your Portuguese first gold medal for this week. What do you say to the crowd?
O que é que tens a dizer aos fãs que vieram aqui para te ver um título mundial de uma organização portuguesa?
Tenho de agradecer porque jogar em casa é sempre muito melhor. Vêm todos os portugueses a apoiar-nos e só tenho que agradecer pelo apoio que nos deram, tanto a mim como ao Ricardo Coelho, que esteve na prova.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our world champion in the C1 Men's Under-23 from Portugal, Sergio Maciel.
A great result for the locals there. Interview translated by Vitor Felix, president of the Portuguese Canoe Association, and crowd clearly great start to their day. And that's the end of our first session. So
We'll be back.
From that, Stefan?
Yeah, we'll be back at 11:35 local time for next session.
Arved Hein finishing his day at the office. Was in that second group for a long time. But just dropped off towards the latter stages of the race today.
And the start of K2 Men Juniors is 11:15. We will start broadcasting
There's
50
confirmation
minutes before.
of the result of the K2 Women's Juniors. Hungarians clear and away. Russell and Peters won the fight in against Giuliano and Isotta. The sprint power of Emma Russell there telling at the end. Jones and Scott really pleased with their 5th position and very happy for Scott there after yesterday's swim. 6th position, the Slovakians, who closed the gap after every portage. And Mackenzie, not to be for her today. She's in 8th behind the Spaniards. 9th to 15th, Portugal, South Africa, Belgium, Spain, Australia, Argentina, and Portugal again. Swedish didn't start. Any idea why that was, Stefan?
One of the girls went sick after yesterday's K1 race, so they couldn't start.
That's right. I heard she went to the hospital after the
exactly.
race. Any news on her today? Or
I think she's fine.
Cool. So that was the junior women's K2 race. A great race it was too. A race for gold and silver, and then a big race for bronze.
A wonderful shot of the venue here. I see the portage and the grandstand and all the crowd.
So we'll leave you now for that next race, which is at 11:50. That's 45 minutes from now. In the meantime,
and we'll start broadcasting 10 minutes
us.
before. So to get you into the
we'll see you later.
into the race.
Harsh on the camera complaining about